So these are unfinished bodies from the 90s Mosrite factory, but it goes to what we're talking about. So you can see where the shaper blade was used for this contour, and then a second one here. Same deal. And by the way, you can feel this is really heavy. I don't know what the deal is, but so these bodies I actually bought at the same time. And this one, same deal. You can see it's a different shaper blade than that one.
Right.
Actually, maybe it's the same. I think it's different though. And then also the channel for the binding. And then here's one that's been totally finished sanded.
Oh yeah, I love the binding too. Jeez. And so this guy would also be. They would add.
You'd add the binding,
right?
And you'd put in the plastic. Good. Yeah, I think that was a neat. Which I've obviously never completed these things.
And with like Fender, and I know they have their automated systems or however they did back in the 60s, that was always consistent, which was pretty interesting.
Kind of the same thing. It's all done with pin routers and templates, you know. Again, we briefly had a Yamaha endorsement, and Kevin, the bass player of the Ghastly ones, was a professional guitar maker. So he had worked for ESP and Fernandez, and then Yamaha.
Yeah.
And most of that stuff, you know, everything now is done with the CNC at the big factories. But the stuff there was still done with a pin router, where it's basically, you can see the screw holes. They screw a template on and then knock this stuff out with a router.
And with headstocks too, what's your experience with that, of the variations that you've seen with the headstock Mosrites?
They're all over the place.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed too. You'll see the end a little sharper and a little less angle.
That's definitely super hand done, but even just the shape of the outline changed a lot over the years.
Yeah, and the curvature.
Yeah, I don't know if they just made new tooling or what, but there's you can see certain eras.
Yeah, it's interesting, man, how they had different inconsistencies throughout the 60s.
Well, especially Mosrites are super handmade.
And the pickguards too, some are white, they age more yellow, and
none of them have the same screw holes. I mean, I feel bad for people who buy pickguards off of eBay.
Yes, I scored, and then it's totally off.
It will not fit their guitar, because this pickup is never at a uniform angle.
Right.
Because that neck heel was just done on a bandsaw, so it was, however the guy was holding it.
There we go.
Yeah, exactly. So
it's almost a week-to-week difference.
Literally guitar to guitar difference.
Right, and then the decals too, however they applied those.
Those are silk screens. And so those are actually fairly uniform. However, they don't line up the same on the surface. Like the spacing and everything's the same, but I think depending on how the guitar laid down in the jig, they can be all over the place. These, I'm fairly certain that the carve was done, I think, by hand.
By hand, yeah.
I could be wrong, but it's completely different than later guitars.
Mm-hmm. So then we hear that there was a reissue, Ghastly One's records.
Yeah, it's on Missing Fink Records.
Yeah.
Johnny, who runs that label, has been amazing to deal with.
Cool.
He's super enthusiastic about the product and open to ideas, and taking the time to give us the input on the artistic aspects of the things, the visual aspects, and usually there are extras included with the records.
Like candy or...
Yeah, exactly. And he's been phenomenally fair, and I think the record sounds great. Dave Klein kind of remastered everything for specifically for this vinyl release, and I think it's the best it's ever sounded.
Can't wait to hear it.
It's cool. Well, it finally came in just this last week, I think on Wednesday.
Some exciting hints online on Instagram.
Yeah, so I think it's finally shipping out. Everything has been super delayed.
Yeah, because of COVID, I would imagine. And
I bought this Discord first 6 singles set, and I bought it November, not of last year, but the year before, and I just got
Just
it.
finally started to come around. Yeah, there's been some delays in items too that I've noticed with some orders as well. And hopefully it's better
Well,
too.
I think the plants are all backed up.
Right.
I don't know if it's a raw material shortage or anything. I just think that they're super backed up.
Yeah, with the lack of personnel
Probably
to be
yeah.
there for the manufacturing
And just,
process of it.
just the dearth of people doing that kind of work anymore.
Right, yeah, 'cause it's an art in itself too,
Sure.
with vinyl pressing and the sleeves itself.
I remember these things always used to turn around pretty quickly for us, but
Yeah, 7 inches, yeah, 45s. And it's great that there's been a huge comeback of vinyl, especially with the young, because I know with my kiddos, their friends, they're turned on to vinyl and LPs. There's just something about it from CD to cassette.
it's more aspirational. We were talking about the whole AC/DC thing.
Yeah.
When you're listening to a download, there's no jacket to just stare at.
Physical, just maybe the cover of the
Yeah, where's the whole thing when I was a kid? I remember I got my first set of headphones, and I would just sit there and listen to the records in the headphones and stare at the artwork.
Right.
I don't know if that was your thing.
Tangible thing, it was.
And even with CDs, a lot of times the really good ones, like the Rhino comp.
Right. The iron work that's inside.
Yeah, like an exhaustive.
Yeah. The history and stuff that they put into it.
Yeah.
But
Now you don't even know who's in the band when you buy it a download. It's a
where it was recorded, who mastered it, it's everything.
The convenience of iTunes can't be disputed, but it is a horrible medium for discovering new music because it's categorized weird.
Right.
How do you have a music purchasing source and not have categories like
They stick it straight
instrumental
wrong.
music? What?
There's nothing surf. Yeah.
Well, there are no categories.
No, they need to
You
do
have
that.
to know what you're looking for
Right.
to find it. And they might give you 6 suggestions that sound like it, but
It
it's
might not
not.
even come close sometimes.
Yeah, that's not the way you bought
Yeah.
records.
Yeah.
It's the same thing as going on to Netflix and the movie categories are.
Oh, not to you gotta get lucky.
They're very odd.
Right.
This is just me getting curmudgeonly, but
No, but it's true, because it makes it hard for the regular listener to discover these things. It just becomes undiscoverable without, can I type in surf and this comes up, or psychedelic, or what have you,
exactly.
and it just, they will not get anywhere without the rights.
exactly.
Band name or song, it's like, dang it.
Yeah, if you type in surf music, you will get
A ton of things with surf in
only
it.
stuff with surf listed.
In the title, it's like, that's not it. It's close, but not.
Yeah, it's frustrating.
It is. And what I've noticed on the topic of iTunes, with some of their movie releases, when you purchase the digital copy, you'll have a sub-menu or a menu with the special features. I don't know if you have that experience with any online ordering.
I've had a very interesting experience with purchasing a movie off of iTunes fairly recently, late last year.
Yeah.
And now it's not supported anymore.
It's
They
not?
no longer carry it. So for whatever reason, even though I downloaded it onto my phone, I can no longer access it. So
anywhere
basically, I rented a movie for the purchase price.
So the purchase price.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Which is, anyway, we don't need to go down this path.
No.
It's just it's amazing what an inferior platform it is just for discovering things.
For discovering, for sure.
Compared to what it could be.
Exactly.
The flip side of the coin is YouTube, which pays horribly as far as
with the percentages that are taken and then it's given to the artist at the end.
But I've discovered so much stuff by just letting it kind of freeform play a next video.
Right. And with that whole, on the topic of ordering, I wish they would do that with the digital download, as we were discussing about. Just all you get is just the cover when you download a song. It'd be nice if you could, if they would include the liner as part of the download too.
It's part of the
It would be a great
release,
thing.
Part of the release of Sgt. Pepper is that artwork.
Yeah, you gotta have that and the cutouts.
One that's that big,
Right. even with the CD, you know, you got that little mini jacket, you cut that out, and
Yeah, I think that was part of their intent.
To sell it, give the consumer something more.
It's added value.
And it adds to the experience of what they were putting out for that album.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know, or whatever. So
And at least you gotta have physicals. It's just nice.
yeah, you know, it's nice when you open up a record too, and there's some sort of a treat in there,
Right.
like a cracker
Sticker,
or
a postcard of some sort.
Exactly.
Yeah, a little eye candy thing. With the Ghastly ones, A Haunting Wind Will Go. Do you guys have any plans to reissue this in the future by any chance? Fans.
That is the only record we released that we don't own.
That you don't own, really?
Yeah,
Oh, that's through Geffen, right?
That was through Geffen.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't know what the rights situation is on that. We have to investigate.
That would be such a brilliant thing, man. That's always been a thought.
I feel like by releasing the Unearthed record, it has frankly better versions of a lot of those songs.
Really?
So I'm loath to, I think we all are, to reissue stuff where it's basically duplicated.
There you go. Right.
You know, when we reissued, when we did Unearth, the songs that we did that are off of that, and the arrangements I think are better because Dave Klein was in the band playing keyboards.
Right.
And
that's such a cool addition too.
and it's better engineered.
Yeah.
I think. And I'm not convinced you could buy this record anymore, which was part of the reason that we did it.
Right. And this was an association with Rob Zombie too as well back then. The connection with...
That's him right there.
Oh, there we go.
Second from the right.
Oh my goodness. That's awesome.
Yeah, Rob was... Norman had a business relationship with him, and Rob basically was just a fan of the band. You know, he used to come out.
All about horror.
Well, he used to come out and go to surf music shows with us and stuff, and so he had the idea of starting that label, Zombie A Go-Go. And the initial releases were that record and the Bomb Boys.
Another great group too. Jeez.
And good friends at that point. You know, I mean, that in there is it illustrates the degree of cross-pollination in the scene.
Right.
Greg Hunt played guitar with us briefly, and then Dave Klein ended up in our band. You know, the drummer from the Bomb Boys was a keyboard player on the Ghastly ones.
And he stepped in back in 2009-ish, did play keys for you guys.
I think it was earlier than that. Honestly, he's played keyboards on everything we've ever done. He's the keyboard player on that record.
Cool.
Yeah, so even before he was officially in the band,
he was
always on record.
The fifth member in the back. That's cool. That's amazing.
It didn't hurt that his apartment was literally right across from my apartment in the old complex where we lived. Yeah.
Small world. Why not? Come on, buddy.
Yeah.
Let's lay it down, let's jam, and make some music.
Yeah, he's a good guy. And then Kevin, we found, we went the usual route. I will backtrack. So when the Ghastly ones formed, it was really me and Norman sitting at work, figuring out that we had effectively the same record collection.
Right.
You know, we were into a lot of the same stuff.
Yeah.
And we both had kind of hard rock and metal backgrounds. Norman had drummed in a couple of metal bands. So he and I got together to jam one day at his house, just outside of Van Nuys. And it was one of those things, we played for 20 minutes and just looked at each other and said, what are we going to call the band? You know, and the nice thing was to find a bass player. Sweet. And tried putting an ad in the recycler, got a bunch of cranks calling. So, you know, guys who were looking for paying gigs.
Right.
And I finally just drew a cool flyer, and I put it not like where you would go to find a musician. I just put it at places I like to hang out.
Right,
So
right.
like a coffee place that I like to go. And there used to be this great video store called Mondo Video A Go-Go.
Cool. I like the name.
on Los Feliz. And I went in with a stack, and they were super, super cool. And I said, hey, I'm trying to find a bass player. Can I put some of these in here? And they were like, yeah, do it. So, because they had a big thing full of flyers.
Flyers, that board. Right.
Yeah, no, it was even better than that. It was, as I recall, it was like a Christmas tree of Lazy Susans that must have been a product display for something else. So they were just people putting stuff there.
That's
so
brilliant.
I did, these little quarter-page flyers, and got one call, and it was from Kevin, and Kevin lived around the corner from Mondo Video A Go-Go, and on top of that, he was playing drums in a band with Jake from the Pomboras, so he already knew everybody. So all of our initial gigs happened because Kevin was able to book them for us. Yeah, Alvoxcon, our first show.
Jeez.
And so yeah, he was invaluable in getting the ball rolling.
Man. Such I love hearing fates and the whole pollination, cross-pollination that you're talking about, the scene, the friends, everybody.
Yeah, and it's Norman and I didn't know anybody in that scene, because the realization was, and I wish I had known it back in my punk days, hey, if you want to meet people who are into bands, you got to go see bands.
Yeah.
And then you start seeing the same people over and over again, and that's how you start.
Go to that.
Yeah, you start meeting people. That's kind of how you form those friendships. So exactly. I remember I took Norman to see a Finks reunion and a Bob Morris show. It was the first time that we had seen those guys, and that's how we met all of them. And,
it's cool.
We just. Our whole concept with the Ghastly ones, aside from the fact that we were just trying to find, I think, obviously because of what Norman and I do for a living,
kind of work,
we were attracted to kind of horror stuff and Halloween stuff.
The Hollywood monsters, etc.
But beyond that, we never lost sight of the fact that it was a rock and roll band.
Right.
It was real important to us that it not be some sort of phony jazz or something. We wanted to preserve that. Kids hopped up on their hormones and playing fast music.
What it's about to play in a garage for fun, the energy, the love.
Precisely.
And a rock and roll band.
Precisely.
To have that element as your backbone.
Yeah, so initially we were like, we're going to be like Slayer, but play surf music.
Surf music,
everything super, super fast.
Yeah.
And
which you guys do brilliantly, man. I love it. It's so addicting. The horror aspect is what I dig about it, or that dark vibe. But it's surf, and because everybody loves monsters, and that whole vibe, and to add reverb to it and surf is a magic combo, I think.
And that kind of music sort of lends itself to it.
That draws the energy.
And it's played a certain way, it has a haunting kind of feel to it.
And speaking of haunting, the Ghastly 7-inch back there, a haunting. It's a spookophonic sound.
Yeah. Obviously, the Haunted Mansion.
Was that an inspiration to the Haunted Mansion itself, with some of the vibrations of the guitar tone, the sounds? Like the Ghastly stomp.
The Ghastly stomp is basically a bastardization of the Haunted Mansion.
Which is brilliant. Yeah, I love it.
Surf and Spooks was written maybe in 5 minutes.
Wow.
This was actually recorded at what was formerly the Beach Boys recording studio in Santa Monica.
Oh man, magic. Jesus, that energy.
Well, it was tiny. It was, we used the bathroom as an echo chamber.
Oh, that's right. Why not?
Yeah, across the hall.
Yeah, like Joe Meek, man.
And Rob was actually physically there the whole time we recorded this one.
That's sweet.
And this one, I think, predates the Geffen deal. I think he literally put this out himself.
Right. It's got that captured essence, pre-Geffen.
And then Josh Agel.
Oh, yeah.
Shag, did
Yeah, we all know Shag,
Rose.
folks.
He was, when we went to meet him, he was working in a record distributorship in Orange.
I'm from Orange.
Yeah, right down like literally right next door to For the Record, where we recorded that record. Yeah, so we went down to meet him, and he was super receptive to the ideas. And he did so much artwork at that point for bands, you know, and had a look that was, at this point, has been, you know, aped by a lot of other people. But at that point in time, he was the only guy who didn't have a look.
Right. It's really,
You know, and he was playing guitar in, you know, instrumental bands.
yeah.
A blue Sparkle Jaguar with light tip tuners, I remember it so well.
Beauty. Beauty. And that Moz right behind there.
The tiny guy.
Yeah, that thing's really cool, guys.
It's, I don't, you know, Japanese people just have an eye for doing stuff that's cute that doesn't have a whole lot of actual practical value.
Man.
But it's cool.
Just imagine a miniature Mosley vibrato on that sucker.
Yeah. For nerds like me, it's where it's at.
It's brilliant. I gotta get in with them.
Yeah. I think I saw one at Front Porch Music in Bakersfield, and that's what put me on the path to try and find one
Right.
years ago.
And on the topic of ventures, so the Mosrite, the love for that came out of the ventures.
It did, but when we started the Ghastly ones, I was playing a Japanese Jazzmaster. It was blonde with gold hardware.
Cool.
I didn't know enough to try and find an old one, which probably wouldn't have been all that much more money at that point, and maybe not any more money.
It would have been brilliant to have internet back in those days.
Yeah, I just
wasn't like we do now.
This is a name droppy story, but I was doing a movie in Minneapolis, and Courtney Love was on the show. And this was 94 or something, so she was a widower at that point, or a widow at that point. And I remember being super impressed because we were hanging out on set, and she said, "I'm going to call Willie's Guitars and have him bring over a bunch of jazz masters." And sure enough, they came over with like 8 jazz masters.
Wow.
And she just went through all of them until she found the one that she liked, and she bought it.
Right.
But at that point, that was my dream guitar.
Yeah, the jazz master.
Yeah, and I remember when I was fixated on getting one, I went to the Guitar Center in Covina, California, and they had, I'm not kidding, 5 white ones hanging on the walls. I could not get anybody to help me out. And I got so upset that I went to the Hollywood Guitar Center and bought that blonde and gold hardware one.
Yeah.
Which sounded good to me, but I just wasn't hip to what the difference is.
Right.
You know, I'm not a vintage snob. It's just there's literally a sonic difference.
There's an energy, there's a sonic difference.
The
feeling
Japanese
vibe
ones
to
are really bright sounding.
Right.
The pickups are different.
Mm-hmm.
To get back on track, what you were asking about, I was at a guitar show at the Santa Monica Civic Center, walking around, and I saw this blue Mosrite, and I was like, that is the coolest looking guitar I've ever seen, and I bought it, and that was the guitar that I played for, I don't know, the first few years of that band. And it sounded good,
Yeah.
you know, but it's funny, we've talked about this, it didn't sound like the Ventures in Space or Live on Stage or Walked
It's
On
missing that.
64.
I was like, why isn't it sounding like
Exactly, and
Right.
so that became like the quest, was to find a guitar that would do that sound.
Right, and that was it. Yeah, the pickups,
It's
sound,
totally about
the
pickups.
Noki
Yeah.
tone, that tone.
It's about the pickups. It's
Right.
about the way they're wound, and it's literally, that's all it is.
It's the tone.
Yeah. That one does it in spades. I have a few others to do it in spades. I don't have any that are really set up for. I think I was, when I started using 12 gauge strings like a lot of surf guys do, and by the end of the Ghastly ones, I was probably using 10s. I was using super light strings.
Right.
I don't know how I got away with it.
Yeah, because I think MOSFETs, the lighter was the thing, right? So, or
Yeah.
did they say 42 to 9?
Yeah, or
Something like
10.
that.
I think they probably shipped with 10s. I have a bunch of strings here. We should
Ooh.
just pull out a calipers and check them out.
Yeah.
This one's cool because this one used to belong to Don Wilson.
Oh, really? Oh, wow. Dang.
So that's a top jack. You know, so it's got
Right,
a
yes,
socket on
that's
the
a
wall.
side jack,
Mhm.
right. Jeez.
Wow.
Yeah, it was cool to see some of his items over at Black Book in
There's
Portland.
a car there. I actually, Michelle and I went up in the Pacific Northwest over the holidays to visit some friends. And I went there, and man, he has a guitar I even knew would like that to get my hands on, which is, it's a white Ventures model that's got Rose Wright engraved on it.
Right, that's the one I think I posted a photo, right? It's the...
I have, Nathan is that guy's name, right?
right, I think
Yeah,
so,
I
yes.
listened to a Mexican record that's got that guitar on the album.
Right, yeah.
This is the one that Noki played in Ventures name, yeah.
Really? Oh my gosh.
This one's the magic guitar. So,
I can tell by the look of it.
So intimidating.
Yeah.
Touch.
don't worry about it. I think I said it before, it's just a machine.
Machine that makes wonderful tone. Oh, pro white.
You haven't labeled everything too.
Well, this is in case there's like a disaster. I know what.
Oh, right.
Jeez.
How does it feel?
Really nice.
Oh.
Yeah, just cannot believe it. Surreal. Very surreal.
Here's a fake one.
Fake?
I made.
There's some big ones out there.
Yeah, all those ones on that cover, those are all fake.
Oh. Makes you look pretty well.
That was shot in our living room.
Wow.
Jeez.
Can't even tell the difference.
Candy apple red. Oh my gosh. Just blows me away.
Sucks because they don't make any left-handed ones.
I'm left-handed.
Really?
Yeah. I have a buddy who's, they are Japanese left-handed ones, but they're hard to come by.
Yeah, I could never find one ever.
Love the neck feel. The smoothness of the trim.
I wonder I think the gold was like too much powder, so the finish after 12 years or whatever has gotten kind of heavily bit.
Yeah.
I'm just blown away.
That one's pretty good. So.
Yeah.
She's like a museum in here.
Yeah, the Pro White, geez, that's one of the ones that I am very sought after.
Mhm.
Would love to grab someday.
It's funny, that one, the body is like 8 pieces of wood.
8 pieces of wood.
What the
It's ridiculous.
Wow. It's rad. Tortoise. Amazing.
Which one do you think is your best one?
It's probably that Don Wilson one.
Really?
Right here.
It's really good.
And that's the one you used at the Venture Mania gigs with Deke?
No, I
Or is it
used
that
that
guy?
one.
That guy, okay.
I used that one a lot.
Awesome.
I'm not sure I've ever played the Don Wilson one out because I bought it just a few years ago. I bought it from his daughter,
Oh, wow.
Stacy. who's
Stacy, yeah.
Super cool.
She is.
I used to use this one in Ventures Mania. This is an earlier fake that I did.
It's a really sick case.
Except I used the wrong kind of wood, so it weighs 1,000 pounds. The case, that is.
Oh wow.
But I wanted to have one with the...
Oh, the gold.
Yeah.
That's sort of the aged, and then the
Well,
trim-
that-
oh yeah,
that-
that's right.
Oh wow.
Earlier. Yep. This is the like the '63 style.
But I didn't actually own one, a real one,
Right.
at that point, so it was
Right.
just based off of a lot of photographs.
Yeah, the black knobs, the black switch knob there. Yeah, these just when you see the photos, man, there's such a mystique. That's what always turned me on
Oh,
as a
yeah.
kid, a teenager, going, you know, there's just something
And
about them.
This era, the 64s,
Right.
they are bitchin' sound.
Mm-hmm.
That's, when you listen to a Ventures record, that's the sound of
See?
these early ones. Yeah.
Just sounds good.
Who's on the Lux too?
Mm.
Jeez. Just beauties, 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 beauties.
God, I haven't built a guitar from scratch in a while. The last thing I did was a C-string bass.
Yeah, that hell's a beauty too.
Oh,
Jeez.
nice. Yeah.
Yeah, the paint job, the flake, the sparkle.
I want to knock out a couple of Jaguars.
Oh, that would be.
I am frustrated because the current issue Jaguars, the body shape is a little funky.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's what I noticed with some of these so-called 65 reissues, the US
Yeah.
vintage. I think the 80 reissues were pretty decent until they stopped. Who knows what they switched on that?
Yeah, the upper horn is funky on a lot of them.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, just crap everywhere in here.
That's
It's alright. Yeah. It all has value.
This guy,
I'm just blown away by the cases. Like the material used.
Yeah, the alligator, that's the trademark for
Yeah.
Mosrite.
weird book binding material.
Yeah.
Right, with the Mark V that I have, that one's the classic gray outer alligator style.
I
Yeah.
like that too.
Right.
This one's actually pretty good, but I need new pickups for it.
Mm.
I'm pretty sure this was made by Ed Elliott. I think this was a forgery
Okay.
because it's way off.
Uh-huh. Oh my
Oh
goodness.
wow.
It's a blue one. Jeez. Oh, okay.
But it's now a pretty decent guitar.
Fantastic. Yeah, and I like the script, how they were bigger.
Yeah.
63, 64. And the transition, I've always wondered why they shrunk them later.
I'm sure it was a semi.
Do you think it was a semi?
To make the Mosrite bigger. than
Bigger.
the
Oh, gotcha. That makes
Yeah.
sense. Right.
I think
Totally makes
a lot of their issues came about because they had a pretty crappy deal with him.
Right.
My understanding is they were obligated to buy a certain number of instruments and notes from him, and that number kept increasing as sales started slumping.
Gotcha.
He wouldn't renegotiate the contract for less instruments. So they
Jeez.
ended up with like a ton of overstock.
Overstock. And Bakersfield is where they resided most of the time, right?
For all of this.
For all of this,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah.
These were probably made, they're made like just south of Bakersfield off
Right.
99, but
Mhm.
yeah, fundamentally Bakersfield. And the factory was there up until probably 10 or 15 years ago.
Oh, dang.
Yeah.
Oxy Street. That would be a great time to visit. Coming up before the grapevine, it's like, there's Bakersfield. Make a trip.
There's a great music store there called Front Porch Music.
Mm-hmm.
I highly recommend checking it out. The owner, unfortunately, had a spate of health issues, so he probably won't be there. He's a really cool guy, but
Shame.
walls and walls and walls of Mosrites.